Hey, 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 everybody, it's time for Jonesy and Amanda's cutting room floor. Hey, 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 everybody, it's time for Jonesy and Amanda's cutting room floor.
Here we are on the cutting room floor. What have we got today, Amanda?
Well, coming up to Easter, I thought maybe we should look at gluttony
Okay.
and the downside of overindulging in sweet treats.
This is good if we end up at one of those Christian radio stations or Christian radio stations.
Question. If we end up with Christian.
And we could, today we're talking about gluttony.
Oh, which is the one you'd like to talk about most of the seven deadly sins? Lust, probably.
Lust is good. Well, no, it's not good. It's
not
there.
good.
Avarice, greed.
Was avarice one?
Avarice was one.
Oh, so that was a nice girl's name.
I'm pretty sure avarice is the same as envy, though, isn't it?
Yeah. What are they? What are the deadly sins?
Okay.
Are there seven?
Yeah.
Lust,
Gluttony,
sloth,
avarice, greed, coveting your neighbour's ass.
angriness, and passive aggressiveness. I think we've rounded it out.
There should be a modern take on
there should
of
be.
the seven deadly sins.
Being up yourself.
Being up yourself, definitely. Yeah. I think that's
being a tool, same thing maybe.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a bunch of stuff.
Well, let me tell you this. This is from a history page, what I done following that. Swedish King Adolf Fredrik died in 1771 after eating 14 cinnamon buns. I had to dive deeper because I thought, that's a lot of cinnamon buns, but you shouldn't die after eating 14 of them.
It's a lot of bread.
Well, do you want to know what else he ate? So the whole story is that he had all these sweet treats and he died.
But he also ate a porcupine.
Here's what he died. He had an extremely heavy meal on Shrove Tuesday. Mm-hmm. His feast included lobster, caviar, sauerkraut, and lots of champagne. But what stood out most was his dessert, they say. He reportedly had 14 semla pastries or semia pastries, cinnamon bun-like treats served in hot milk. Later that evening, he died from what was likely heart failure or a stroke. He's often remembered, and this is beautiful, as a king who ate himself to death.
Yeah.
If you're a king, what would you like to be remembered for?
Oh, being good to the kingdom.
Being good to the kingdom.
When people say, that King Jonesy.
He was good. He was good to the kingdom.
You see the aqueducts and all that stuff. And
you sure he's not the one who drank himself to death?
That could be King Jonesy.
Here's another Easter story.
I like Easter stories. Although I would say
little
this.
Wabbits. Yeah.
Before you go on to that.
Yeah.
If I was the king, I'd probably back off the gluttony a little bit because there's a lot of food groups that I can't eat together.
Well,
no, I wouldn't
we know that now. We don't know that. We didn't know that then. Henry VIII, even Elton John, ate everything, then would make himself sick to eat again. Yeah. Because there was no self-restraint. That's the point of it. It's not saying, hey, I can't move. I've got too much cholesterol.
But there are food groups that disagree with you. I can't eat surf and turf. I think, in the wild, those two proteins don't combine.
What do you think in the wild? You can have chocolate M&Ms and bloody
I'm just saying
blue Skittles. You eat those things.
No, I don't.
Well, people do.
But not me. But surf and turf, that gives me trouble.
I would say to you.
If they were leading me to the block about to chop my head off for being good to the kingdom, I'd say, well, can my last meal be surf and turf? Because then I'll be willing on the guillotine.
But then what if you get a reprieve from the governor? Say, no, I'm going to die. Let me just go.
I've got to pass a lot of wind.
Well, if you were a king, I think that's the whole point, is you push through what your body tells you. In the old days.
Yeah.
Can we move on to Wascally Wabbits?
Back to the rabbits.
So this is interesting. Napoleon Bonaparte was feared on the battlefield, as we know. But in 1807, maybe only 50 years after the Swedish king Adolf Fredrik ate himself to death, he faced an enemy he never saw coming, hundreds of charging rabbits. Hoping to celebrate a recent military victory, he ordered his chief of staff, Alexandre Berthier, to organise a grand rabbit hunt. So he thought that this would be great for entertainment. He gathered his men around and gathered hundreds of rabbits. Instead of fleeing, the rabbits, who were semi-domesticated, charged at him. They overwhelmed him in a bizarre scene that forced him to retreat. So this big war hero, terrified soldiers, all in the sphere of where he was terrifying.
Yeah.
My history is a bit blank. Terrified of these rabbits. They had to retreat because the rabbits chased them.
It's like, I might date myself a little bit here, but you'll certainly know this episode of The Goodies, the Watership Down one, when the rabbits turned on the goodies.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yeah. Remember
Which-
Watership Down? Did you go and see it at the cinema? It had
Yeah.
that Art Garfunkel song that was really slow.
Right.
And I thought everyone thinks it's going to be cute. Am
Yeah.
I imagining they died from myxomatosis, or was that a joke?
No, they just
But
got
what
run
happened to
over
them?
on a country road.
Did they?
I'm pretty sure they got run over or shot.
There was a sadness to it.
Or did they die in a spider web? I know that was Charlotte's Web.
That was The Fly. We never went to the movies when we were kids. We never did. But
you?
I remember Mum taking me to see Beatrix Potter. And because I so rarely saw anything, I thought it was the most exciting thing until I realised it was boring.
What a depressing life.
It wasn't a depressing life, but the neighbours took us to see Born Free. But I don't remember seeing Bambi. I don't remember all these movies that have defined a generation. Sound of Music. I first saw that when I was about 16. It was on the TV, and my father and I became cynical and slagged it off. I didn't see any of these. My auntie said she was going to take me to see Mary Poppins. I'm still waiting. She's in her 80s. I'm still waiting, Auntie Julie.
Come on, Auntie Julie. My cinematic experiences were largely Herbie Goes,
I
Monte
saw
Carlo,
those at
Bananas.
the drive-in.
Yeah,
My
you'd see
parents took
those.
us to the drive-in.
And then I remember very vividly, we were going to Luna Park, and we got to Luna Park, and it was closed. And I was a 9-year-old boy, and I had no idea that you could close Luna Park.
Yeah.
And Dad said, "Okay, mate, well, it's closed."
Tantrum?
No, I couldn't. I said, "Yeah, but when are we going in?" "No, mate, it's closed. Those
You're a little
big
bit
metal
simple.
gates under the mouth. I mean, it's closed.
His dad was saying, sorry, everyone. I'll explain it to him again.
It's closed." So then my cousin said, "Well, why don't we go and see a movie?" He was a bit older than me. And the offerings were Rocky or Star Wars. And I adored my older cousin. He would have been about 12 when I was 9, so he was my hero. And he said, "Yeah, let's see Rocky. I want to see Rocky." And I went, yeah. And then they were telling me a bit. Someone said, "Is that the one where he cuts his eyes?" You know, in Rocky, he's getting punched so much by Apollo Creed. He goes, "Mickey, you got to cut me. You got to cut me." And he cuts his eyes so he can see, you know, the puffiness of the eyes. And that freaked me out a bit. And then my other cousin said, "Why don't we go and see Star Wars? That's really good." And I was, "Oh, what's in that?" And they said, "Oh, it's great. They get munched up by this monster in this swamp." And I went, "Oh, I don't know if I want to watch that either." But I remember seeing Star Wars and that opening scene where the big battle cruiser comes out, and my dad just going, "Jesus," as it came. Yeah. And that sticks with me my whole life.
One about my movie experiences, my brother and I took the train into town to see a movie, and we were going in to see some Bill Cosby film or something, and instead we saw Alvin Purple.
What Bill Cosby? Was it Mother Jugs and Speed?
No, it wouldn't have been that. It was something very G-rated. And instead we saw Alvin Purple.
There you go.
And we came home and kept making jokes. And Mum finally said, "What movie did you see?" I said, "Oh, nothing."
But that was all sex.
I was all horrible sex.
And you saw it with your
I was
brother.
all big, just boobs and sex.
Boobs and Bush,
That's
which was a theatre restaurant of the time.
Happy Easter, everyone.
Okay, kids, that's it for today. Come back tomorrow for more of Jonesy and Amanda's cutting room floor.